Okay then, so now what we need to do is we keep this client ID as an empty, because without the Google client ID you can't access your Gmail account. Because now let me go here and let me open the console window. If I click the console, you can see it's showing some uncaught promise error. If I click this, nothing will happen because it's not working. This Google API it's not working fine, because we need to create the client ID. So open a new tab and log into console.cloud.google.com. I drop this link in the description box. Go ahead and click that. So that will takes you to the Google Cloud platform where we are going to create our client ID. So this is the Google Cloud platform, and make sure that you logged in with your account. And if you click over here, that will gives you the projects which you already created. I already created a few projects for my website, and this is the um, which I created for this particular demo project for this app. Now we are going to create a new project. So click this new project. Okay, so here you need to type your project name. So it's showing you having remaining 13 projects, so there are certain limitations for the creating the ID for your this particular Gmail account. So now let me create as watch me underscore YouTube. Okay, so there is no organization, so let me create this project. It's showing the name has an invalid character. Okay, so let me delete this underscore. So let me create. Okay, so that's creating my project now. So this will be created in a few minutes, so please wait until it's get done. So now my project is created. Now you need to change your project, so click here and switch to your current project. So click this link, so that will load that particular project. So now we are in the project which we created. So after this, what we need to do is expand this command, this navigation screen, and go to the API and services, click it. And in the API and services, what we need to do is we need to over here. So what we need to do next is we need to, one second, let me open it. And after here, we are navigated to the API services, and let's click this. Nope, not that one. So after that, what we need to do is, and here in the left side, we're having this credentials and all those things. So first we need to click the credentials. So click the credentials. And here what we need to do is we need to create a new credential. Currently it doesn't having any credentials over here. So click the credentials and you can find this auth client ID. So click it. We are going to create an auth client ID. So click it, and what it's showing, to create auth client ID you must be configure your consent screen. So configure consent screen, click it. Okay, so here now it's going for auth consent screen because we need to create a credential. So this screen need to be created. We are not going to use the internal applications. We are going to use the external applications. We are going to use the application in our reactjs. So that's an external app. So create external and create. And here you need to give the app name. What is the app, for what particular app you are going to create? So I'm just going to create watch me YouTube. Okay, so after this I'm not going to give anything over here. App domain, nope, not yet. And here you need to give your email address. So I'm just going to type my own email address. So retrival.galaxy@gmail.com. So hit the save and continue. Or same, use the support email. It's showing error, so let's select that, save and continue. Okay, and here we don't need to add anything else, so let me click save and continue. And for the currently I'm not going to use any test users. Click save and continue and click the back to dashboard. So now our consent screen is created. Now click back the credentials. It's loading and click create new auth client ID. And here it's showing the application type, what particular application type, web application. Okay. And then what we need to do is we need to authorize our local host. So let me copy this localhost link, this one, localhost 3000, and here in the authorized JavaScript origins, click add URI and click and paste it over here. So click create, and that will create that particular permissions to use that app, your Gmail, in that particular login URL. Later we need to update it, and this is your client ID. So let me copy it and go to your project, and we are going to create an environment variable .env because we need to protect our client ID and all the security information for our project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click in the front end application and create .env. Press enter, and here I'm going to create React app Google token. This is just a name what we are creating. So paste that client ID over here, save the changes, and now we need to use this inside our login. So where we need to use it? We need to use it inside this particular place, client ID. We need to alter the client ID now. So let me delete this double quotes, open the dynamic block content, and then type process dot env dot, make sure that's spelled correct, process dot env, and copy this and paste it over here. So now this will access our token which we created in the environment variables in a secured mode, and this will return a promise. So when you're clicking that, it will call this function, and let me simply console.log that response, save the changes, and let me go here and refresh it. Let me open the console inspect element, open the console, clear the screen, refresh it. Okay, so still it's showing missing parameter client ID. Why we already given it? Okay, so let's see what happens. So if I click this, thing is happens. Oh, okay, I forgot about it because we created the environment variable. So whatever this environment variable, it's need to take changes. So let me stop the server. Let's stop it and rerun it, because that's need, then only the server will take a reaction for our environment variables what we created. Okay, so our server now it started, it's loading the home screen. Let me go back to the login. Here we go. Let me inspect the element, go to console. Currently there is no issues in the console. Now if I click this sign in, that will pop up the sign in screen, and look at that, and it's showing me that Gmail account. Let me use my Gmail account, so click it, and now it will log in me to that particular using that Gmail account, and it's returning this promises. Inside this promise you can see that we having this profile object, we having the email, family name, and then the Google ID, image URL, name. So we need all this Google ID, image URL, and the name. We need to get all these informations. So let me go to the login again, and inside this function, I don't need this anymore, so let me close that one. After this, what I need to do is I need to fetch the I need to store all these user informations what we created into our local storage. So maximum for single application browser local storage will provide you 5 MB 5 MB. So we are going to use the user info in the local browser storage. so that we can access that user info anywhere from the any component whenever we need it from the local storage. So maximum it will provide you 5 MB per app. For single application it will provide you 5 MB for memory storage for that particular application. So let's store that information. So local storage dot set item. So we are going to set the item as user. So whenever we need to access, we can access it as a user. Then I'm going to save it as a JSON dot string. I'm going to, using the JSON string. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this particular object. So let me copy it and paste it here. Response dot profile obj. And after this, okay. So let me console it now. We will make sure that it's working fine. Console.log response dot profile obj, save the changes, and let me close it. If I click again, that will pop up, and this time it will directly text me in, and look at that, we're having all the response what we needed. Cool. Now let's go back here and remove this console log, and after this I'm going to get that response obj over here. So instead of using that, what is the information we needed it? We need only the image URL, Google ID, and the name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to destructure it. I need the name from that. So make sure that it's perfect, and then copy this image URL, paste it, and we need Google ID. So we don't need to misspell it. So Google ID, from where we are going to destructure it from profile obj, and we are storing in these necessary variables. So instead of keeping all this storage in all these user informations in the local storage, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. I'm going to once the user successfully logged in, it will be stored in the local storage, and I'm going to get it from there, and I'm going to push that detail to our sanity, because we need to maintain our users details in our database too. So this is, it's going to saving the user details in the sanity. To use the sanity inside our front end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file in our root directory called client. To access our, we need to access our user details, right? So I'm going to access it. So right click, and not in the, yeah, absolutely in the source, right click, and client.js, create that file. Inside this file I'm going to create a connection to our sanity to store our details into the sanity client. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the client.js, and I'm going to import certain packages like sanity client from at sanity client. Save the changes. Then we are going to import image URL builder. So this package, which helps you to create a URL that for our image, whatever we are uploading in the sanity, we need to create a serial link for our image. Then I'm going to create an export default client object equals sanity client, open it, and we are going to pass a bunch of object into it. First one, we need to pass the project ID. We need to pass the project ID. I'll show you where you can get the project ID. For the time being, I'm just keeping it at empty. And the dataset, we are going to use the dataset as the production dataset. Make sure that's spelled correct. And API version, what API version we are going to use, that's you can give any random number, but I'm going to give to the number like 25 slash 0 25 01 2022. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use CDN. We need to make sure true, then only we can build the URL for our image, and then we need the token, access token for our sanity client. So let's go on and get our sanity project ID and token. So open up your terminal and create a new terminal. Okay, I'm just going to, okay, wait a second. Let me split this. So that will create a new terminal over here. So now what I need to do is, let me keep it side by side like this. So this is our front end, and now let me go to the backend, CLS, CD backend, and then run the command sanity start. It should be like sanity manage. Sanity manage. If I press enter, okay, so that will open the browser, and you can see that it's opening the browser right now. And using that now, you can see your project ID. It's over here. So click this and then go to your env environment variable where we are keeping here. So here, right after here, so let's create React app sanity project ID equals, paste it. This is my project ID because I need to maintain its safety. That's why I'm keeping it over here. Then I need to create an API token. So go to API, and if you scroll down, you can see here we need to add the cross origin. We need to allow, because if you are accessing that API, you need to allow your URL. So copy this local URL and paste it in your add cross origin. Paste it and allow all credentials. Make sure you allowed it and click save. Now our browser is your URL is added, and now we need to create the API token. So click API token. Okay, so let's say React token, give a name for it. Let me use the small letter itself, React token, or hyphen React token. Then here I'm going to give all the access, read, write, for all the data sets what we are having inside this project. So click save. So that will create the token. Copy this token and paste it in our React app sanity token equals, paste it and save it. So now we need to give this files inside our client.css, so client.js. So project ID, in the project ID, what I'm going to do, process.env dot, I'm going to access this particular project ID and paste it over here. And let me copy it and paste it one more time for the token. Instead of token project ID, I'm going to give the token. And then after this, now what we need to do is we need to uh, create an image URL, right? We need to create an image URL because we need to access our images, everything through the CDN links. So const builder, it's equals image URL builder, and I'm going to pass that client into it. Save the changes. So if you are thinking about like how from where these things are coming, so this is nothing but, you can, if you check the sanity docs, so let me, where it is, if I run the sanity docs, you can check it in the sanity docs itself. Sanity docs, you can search for image CDN. So assets CDN, not this one, where I can find images, asset CDN, images, assets, presenting images, URL builder, and here we go. You can see that you can find the how to configure the images and all those things. Everything is given over here. I'm just following this documentation. So take your time. If you're a new user using a new tech, so I really recommend to go through their documentation first. Okay, so go through it and read all these line and what they are doing and everything. Okay, so now let's go back to our project. Let me close it over here. And right after here, I'm going to export that URL, or because we need to export that URL back. So equals source builder. We created that builder dot image source, whatever the image source you're having, return it back and keep it in the URL for, and I'm going to access it whenever I needed it. So now our client is ready. So now let's go back to the login.jsx, and after here I'm going to create the doc const doc is equals open the doc. As I said, everything is the document in the sanity. We created the user document over there. So inside that, it's going to have an ID colon underscore ID colon. I'm going to pass that ID as the Google ID which we created. Then underscore type. Type is nothing but on which particular document you're going to save, like we having user pin and all those things. In that, what particular type, what particular document type you're going to save. I'm going to save it in the user document. Then inside that, I'm having the username. If you go to your backend and open your schema, user schema, we created this name over here. Copy it and paste it. Okay, then for the username, I'm going to pass the name which I get from the Gmail. And for the image, I'm having the image over here. Where is that? User name is the image, and I'm going to give that image over here. And for the image, I'm just passing the image URL. Save the changes. Okay, now we successfully created that document, and what we need to do is we need to save this to our sanity. So for that, we created the file called client. So let's import that first. So import client, that will be imported from the client JS file. Then I'll create client dot create if not exist, because we need to create that particular thing only if not exist, otherwise we don't need to create again and again and again. So let me pause that document. That will return a promise dot then. Okay, and open the function. If everything is saved successfully, what I need to do, I'm going to navigate that user to our home screen. So what we need to do is we are going to use this use navigate hook. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable called const navigate equals use navigate hook. Okay, and in that object, using that object navigate, I'm going to pass send that navigate that user to this particular home directory slash, and replace that URL. Replace, it's going to be true. Replace the login URL to slash. So that will take us to our home component. So let's verify everything is up and running now. Let's go here, and before that we need to make sure client is not defined. Why? We imported the client, right? Save the changes. Why still it's showing like that? Oh, okay, because we changed the environment variables, right? So stop it and rerun the server npm start, and we are saving the details to the client also. So you need to start your sanity client sanity also. So start the sanity sanity start your sanity server also, because we need to save your details into the sanity. So why it's showing like client is not defined? I already defined the client. But what's the problem with the client? Oops, it's an object, so it should be inside curly brackets. So sorry, my bad, that should be inside the curly brackets. Still it's showing that same thing. Why? Export client what's not found. Why it's showing like that? Let's go to the client.js. Uh, oh, my bad. Const. It should be not default. It's supposed to be a const. It's a constant variable. That's the mistake. My bad. Auto correction. Sorry, guys. Okay. So here it's throwing another one error. Use navigate is never used. Why? We already used it. Okay. It's just a warning. So let's go to our React application / login. It's showing an error. That is some mistake in our code. What we missed? Did we missed something? We imported the client. That's working fine. Client. And then where we created the use navigate, we created the use navigate, use navigate. It's running fine. And then what is the mistake we created? Is a navigate URL only? Yeah, navigate only. That's what we are using. No problem in that. That's still why it's still showing this error. Let's open the console. Let's verify what is the mistake it's showing. Open the console. It's showing invalid API version. Oops, we given an invalid API version in the client. So go to the login and go to the client. What is that error it's showing? Year, it should be year, month and date. So we made a mistake over there. Oops. Okay, mistakes happens, so we can correct it, learn from mistakes. So 2022 minus 01 month and date, it's going to be 25. Save the changes. Now look at that, our login screen is successfully loaded. So now let's click sign in. It's pop up and it's navigating. If everything is working fine, it should navigate to our home screen. Look at that, it successfully navigated to the home screen. And let's go and verify whether it saved every details in the sanity or not. So where is the sanity IO? Or did I close it? Oh my god, I think I closed that one. Okay, so let me close this one and then I close this one too. So now let me open my sanity manage. So let me open it. So keep this open, guys. From now onwards, we need to constantly check all these informations. Oh, not this one. Where it is? Oh, let me close this one also. Where is the terminal? And click this URL that will takes us to the sanity. If I go to the user, so look at that, we already created the dummy detail with tree, and this is the URL which is coming from your Gmail. We successfully saved, and for this particular purpose only we created that CDN image URL builder. So this, if you copy this URL and paste it in the browser, it will work fine. You can access this fine, access that URL. So we get on URL from the Gmail and we converted it and we encrypted it a different thing. So that what's that image URL builder it's doing. So now our login screen is successfully working. We logged in successfully and it navigated to the home screen. So from now what we need to do, we need to concentrate on our home screen.